Hey y'all, it's Raj with EV365. Today we're going to try out the HS1 mobile connector by Andeman.
All right, here it is, the Andeman HS1 mobile connector. They were kind enough to send this over to me to review, and right now you can find this connector on Amazon and on their webpage, and it retails for about $189, and right now on Amazon, they've got one of those click coupons, which you can get $40 off. Andeman was also kind enough to send me a coupon code to share with everybody to get an additional 15% off at Amazon. So look in the comments for the links to their website, to the Amazon link, and for that coupon code so you can check it out, get more information, and see the latest and greatest pricing. Now, this is their HS1 model number, which I think they just released, and it has a NEMA 1450 plug, so you can just plug that in to a NEMA 1450 outlet to use it. And it is rated at 32 amps. So that means it'll give you about 7.5 kilowatts every hour when you're charging if you're pulling at that 32 amps. And of course you can pull less than that if you need to. So yeah, let's just go over some details on what came in the box. Obviously it came with the instruction manual, which it's pretty simple. These mobile connectors are effectively extension cords, right? So you just plug them in and use them. But this one does have an app as well, so there's some instruction in there on how to use the app. And we'll go over some of the details on what the app can do while we're charging. But one of the big things is, of course, you can adjust the current through the app. It's really easy to do. And you can also adjust the time that you start charging. So you've got some flexibility there on your charging times. So yeah, you've got the manual. It comes with a nice little case, and I say little, but it's actually a pretty big case, so it should be pretty easy to get the mobile connector in and out of the case, which sometimes is an issue when the cases are too small. And it comes with two mounts. One is the mount to put on your wall if you're going to use this at home, and you can get your charger and store it, the connector, and store it in there, and you can wrap your cable around it. So that just kind of goes on the wall like that. And then you've also, and this one is actually a pretty solid plastic, there's no give on that. And it also came with a holster to put the connector itself in if you wanted to mount that onto your wall. And you can do that either way on the connector depending on where your outlet is. Now I will say this holster is not the thickest plastic material, and with how heavy these cables are and the connector and you pulling on it to get back and forth from your car, not really sure how long that'll last, especially if you're using it outdoors. And then of course it comes with the screws to get both of those mounts up on your wall. So now let's look at the some of the specifics of the unit itself. Like I said, it's got a NEMA 1450 plug. The charger itself is made out of this hard plastic. It's got that angular look, and it's got a black and white color combination, and it does have a little screen, which when we do the charging test, we'll let it run for about an hour. We'll see what kind of info you can get off that screen, and we'll also see what type of control you have on the unit itself in addition to what the app can do. But yeah, the unit seems pretty robust. And then you've got the J1772 connector. So this is for all vehicles other than Tesla vehicles. If you do want to use this on a Tesla or any new vehicles that come out with the NACS connector, you will need an adapter to use this one. And let's look in, this unit actually on the back has a lot of the key information that we'd be interested in. Like I said, it's the model HS1. It's rated at 32 amps, and again, you can pull less than that if you want to. It is Type 4 protection certified, and it's also IP66. So that means this is safe for outdoor use, and it can handle water spray. So the IP66, the 6 in there, means it's dust proof, and the second 6 means it can actually take a jet of water. So, in normal rain and things like that, you're going to be okay storing this unit outside or using it outside if you want to. And it can operate in between -22 degrees Fahrenheit up to 122 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty standard for basically most charging equipment that you'll find out there. And it is made in China. And one good thing that we do like to see on units is it is ETL certified. We at least want to either see an ETL certification or a UL certification, which means it's got some type of safety rating and safety certification. That's one of the US based certification boards. And then it's FCC certified as well, which just means it's not going to impact certain radio frequencies in and around the unit. And one thing I saw online, it is also Energy Star certified. I can only assume that just means when it's like plugged in and idle, and you know the screen might be on and things like that. But obviously, when you're charging, none of these things are probably Energy Star certified in that situation because you are pulling a lot of power. All right, so that's the unit. And the other thing I like to always look at, and it's really important with all EVSE connectors, whether they're the wall type or mobile connectors, is the cable. I mean, honestly, that's the one thing that I think makes these things a go or no go. If the cable's easy to manage, easy to fold up, you're going to be hanging your unit up properly. This thing's not going to be sitting on the ground to get run over. And they're just it's just a much more friendlier user experience as far as I'm concerned. And so this cable, yeah, it seems pretty flexible. And it's a decent thickness for what I see for mobile connectors. I've seen some thinner ones, but like I said, this one's pretty flexible. So we'll try to get this hung up on this unit over here and just see how difficult that is, just to give us an idea of how that cable thickness is. All right, so as you can see, yeah, that's wrapping up pretty nicely. And there is definitely some units that you'll get where you're not going to easily be able to wrap these cables up on a holster like this. I would be totally fine with this. Now, of course, if you're dealing with cold weather and stuff like that, your cable may get a little stiffer, so that's something to consider. But in general, for a mobile connector, I'm happy with this cable. It's flexible enough for me. That was super easy to hang up, and once it's on there, you know, if you're using it, you just pull out as much cable as you need and wrap it right back up. So yeah, that's good for me. No issues with that cable at all. So now we're going to get the unit plugged in, and we'll let it run for about an hour and see how we do with some heating and stuff. And then we'll test out the app and see what we can do through there and look at the unit itself and see what's on the screen and what kind of controls we got on there. All right, so here we are by the Rivian. We're going to pop this rubber cap off, and we're probably about 15 to 20 feet away from where I've got the actual level 2 charger plugged in. And as you can see, we still got plenty of room. So that's good on a mobile connector to have that much length. So we'll just pop open the charging port for the Rivian. And like we do with all our charging tests for equipment, we like to use the Rivian one because we know we'll have this vehicle. But even more importantly, it's just kind of easy to tell how quickly it's recognizing it and starting the charge. So we'll just get that plugged in like you would any other J1772 connector, and it clicks in and it holds it, and you can see the Rivian picks that up really quickly. It's already turned green, so that means it's pulling a charge. So we do like to see that, just a plug in, not a lot of hold time, and the charge gets pulled. So that's great. We should be pulling about 7.5 to 7.6 kilowatts. We're on a 32 amp circuit. And we'll go inside, see what kind of information we're getting on the actual unit, and then we'll dig into the app in a little more detail as well. All right, so here's the unit, and while you're looking at it, you can see it's giving you the temperature of the unit. We're at 33 degrees Celsius there. It shows that you're connected to Wi-Fi. You're charging at the moment. It's set at 32 amps. And you got 248 volts going through the unit. 31.56 amps gives you the exact reading. And that bottom number is the amount of kilowatt hours that you have actually charged into the battery pack. So not the actual charging speed. So it's not showing you that 7.5 or 7.6. So we'll get that from the app, I think, or maybe from the app for the vehicle. And then at the bottom, you've got the charging time. And I think what these two buttons here do, they do not work while you're charging, but this circle A will let you set the amperage that you're pulling. And this timer, I think, will let you set the delay. So you can do that, it looks like, from the unit and from the app. So we'll go check out the app and see what else we can do in there. Okay, so the app that works with the Andeman device is the Smart Life app. You see, I've already got it on that top left corner, so I'm going to click on it, but you can download that from any app store, regardless of the phone type you have. And you'll see I actually already had 2 devices in there. They were smart outlets that I bought years ago. And I'll tell you, those work flawlessly. We use them for a couple months a year for Christmas. Unplug them, store them away, plug them right in the next year, and everything works. They're connected to the Wi-Fi, work with our home assistant. So they've been great. So hopefully the charging units have the same type of reliability and functionality. So you can see I've already got the charger connected, and it is showing their wall charging unit in the little picture there. So what that lets me know is they're probably using the same kind of app and data for both the wall charger and the mobile connector. And there's a few things in the app as well that kind of speak to that. But here we are inside the app on the first screen, and we are plugged in and charging. So you can see the battery just kind of shows a picture that we're doing a real-time charge. I guess it would update that if we set it on a delay timer. That next button, it says click to turn off power. You could click that to stop your charge. And of course you can do that from your vehicle or your vehicle's app as well. And I know when you're not plugged in or before you've started a charge, that's actually a swipe like you would see on your phone to get the charge started. And then over here, you've got the charging mode. So if we click on that, that's what allows you to set it to starting the charge right away or a delayed charging, and you can set the amount of hours you want to wait till you start charging. Now, I do wish they would change or update this app to be more of a window of time that you can put in. But right now it's just a delay and get started. So if you want a window of time, you're going to have to do that through your vehicle or through your vehicle's app, assuming it's got that capability. But this is something I'm sure they can fix with a software update. And then on the bottom, it just gives you some of the same information that's on the unit. The voltage it's pulling, the current, we're pulling 31.5 amps. Again, it's a 32 amp charger, and the power we're pulling right now on that is 7.821 kilowatts, and it's kind of live time. And then what actually gets into the vehicle won't quite be that. So when we look at our app for the vehicle, it might show a little less. Obviously, there's some inefficiencies from the time you're plugged in to the time it gets to the vehicle. So we'll click to that next button at the bottom. It's called record. And basically what this will do is show you how many times you've plugged in. Looks like it's got a default picture in there, but it'll show you how many times you plugged in and how long the length of charges were and how much power you pulled. And then you can pull this data up by day, by month, by year. So that's just for those of you that like looking at data. And the next button on the bottom is the setting button. And that record of report we just looked at, you can send that to your email address if you want to. This next button is a key button. This is the charging current. So if you want to set your charger to less than 32 amps, this is where you do it. And again, it looks like you can do that on the charging unit itself as well. And of course, if you set this higher than 32, and this lets me know that since it goes higher than 32 on this, it means it's probably the same app or the same module in the app for the wall charger as well, because obviously this unit's only going to go up to 32. I'd imagine if you set it above 32, it's not going to pull that because the unit's just not capable of that. So we've got it set at 32 amps, and we'll just cancel that. And then it gives you the temperature in Celsius. And that's one of the things on the app and on the unit itself. It's in metric, so your temperatures aren't in Fahrenheit there. So that's the temperature of the unit itself, not the actual outdoor temperature. And then we got total active power, current CP state, and the version number of the app we're running. So that's basically the app. So pretty simple to use. And I do like that it's easy to switch the amperage that the unit can pull through the app or on the unit directly. So you don't have to mess around with any IP addresses or anything like that, which is common with some other chargers. All right, y'all. So we've been charging for about an hour, and we pulled the 7.6 kilowatts for that full hour. So that means if you use this unit to charge your vehicle overnight, say for 10 hours, you get about 76 kilowatt hours back into your battery, which is plenty for most vehicles to get you over 80% state of charge, if not all the way through. And I always like to say that I think 32 amps to 40 amps is a perfect charge speed for level 2 charging at home. And the other thing we like to check is just to see if there's any out of the ordinary heating up of the cable or the the charging unit itself, and there isn't. The unit feels pretty good, just a little bit of warmth. Cable's got a little bit of warmth, but again, nothing out of the ordinary with what I felt. The plug actually feels cool to the touch, which is good. This is usually, if you're going to get any melting or anything, would be here. So it's always good to make sure you're connected solidly. And yeah, this all feels all right. So we'll go outside to where the connector is connected to the car and see how that feels. All right, y'all, so here we are, and as you can see, the Rivian is still pulling a charge, as you can see by the green light bar there, and over here across the connector as well. And what we like to check is after we've been charging for a while with a new unit, is just to see if there's any heating up of the connector. There isn't. That's actually cool to the touch, and with the cable. And same thing, so that's good to see. And one thing I wanted to show you before we pull the plug out here is how responsive the app is. Let's get into the app. And I've used this app for other devices, and it's been really responsive. And most importantly, it stays connected to the device. It stays connected for years without ever having to mess around with it. So I know I've run into apps for charging units like this that seem to disconnect continually. But I have a feeling this one will be pretty reliable. So we're just going to hit off on the app. And there you see it. That charge stopped right away. So it's really responsive, especially if you've got a good Wi-Fi connection, which is good to see. So yeah, I do feel like that app is going to work great with this device, just like it has with some of the other electronics I have that use that app. And one thing that does tell me that app has a lot of electronic devices on it. So I do believe Andeman just gets this from a manufacturer in China and sells them and distributes it under their brand. So you'll find other units that actually look identical to this one on Amazon. And they probably have the exact same functionality as well. But the one Andeman sent us worked out great. I like to see that it plugs in and you can use it right away with or without the app. If you do want to use the app, it connects to the app very easily. And then when we plugged into the vehicle accepted it super fast and started charging right away on the first try. So those are 3 good check marks that I like to see on these mobile connectors or even on a wall connector. And the unit is built great. You know, it's sturdy. It's built for indoor, outdoor use. And as a mobile connector, it gives you a lot of functionality that you'd expect out of a wall connector. It's got the app. You can control amperage and control the delay start time from the app. You can look at data if you want. And it's got a 25-foot cable. And it can get mounted on the wall, so you can have a more kind of permanent install if you want to do it that way. And then it's easy enough to slide out. The cable's flexible enough to roll up, and you can store it in your trunk or your frunk. And then we do like to see that ETL certification. That's one of the 2 safety certifications we like to see on electronics when they're sold in the US. One thing I didn't see was any warranty information on Andeman's page or on their Amazon listing. But it does have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you're looking for something affordable that's got a lot of capability, I would say take a look at the Andeman charger and give it a try, see what you think. So yeah, that's the Andeman HS1 40 amp or 32 amp EVSE. If you've got any questions on it, let me know in the comments below. And as usual, thanks for tuning in. Hang loose, y'all.